When people talk about fine dining in America, they look to New York. They look to Los Angeles. But when you want pure, unfiltered, heavyweight comfort food, food built by working people, for working people, you come to Chicago. And today, we are spending 24 hours eating only Chicago street food. Now let me set expectations right now, because Chicago street food is not what you might be picturing. There are no trendy food trucks here. No Instagram-friendly open-air pop-ups. Street food in Chicago means something completely different. It means historic walk-up windows with steel counters. Side street hatches where the line wraps around the block before sunrise. Open-air markets that have been feeding this city for over 100 years. It is heavy, it is loud, it is absolutely delicious, and it does not apologize for any of it. The rules are simple. No sit-down restaurants, no deep-dish tourist traps. Every single meal comes out of a paper bag and gets eaten standing up, on a bench, or directly over a trash can. That is the Chicago way. Let us go. First stop. 8:30 in the morning. Jim's Original. We are heading southwest of the Loop. Take the CTA Blue Line train to the UIC Halsted station, walk about 10 minutes south to Union Avenue, and look for a walk-up window that has been open 24 hours a day since 1939. This is Jim's Original, and this is where the Maxwell Street Polish was born. The menu here has not fundamentally changed in nearly 90 years. You walk up to the steel window, place your order, and within 30 seconds a heavy yellow paper wrapper lands in your hands. It is already slick with grease before you even open it. That is how you know you are in the right place. Inside that wrapper is a massive hickory-smoked pork and beef Polish sausage, tucked into a poppy seed bun and completely buried under a mountain of sweet, deeply caramelized grilled onions and yellow mustard, with a few hot sport peppers laid across the top. And here is the part that sets Jim's apart from every other sausage sandwich you have ever had. Every single order automatically comes with a handful of fresh-cut, skin-on French fries thrown directly into the wrapper with the sausage. Not on the side, inside the wrapper, mixed in with the onions and the grease and the mustard. The snap on that sausage when you bite through the casing is unlike anything else. The smoky, garlicky fat hits you instantly. The cold morning air makes it taste even better somehow. This is not a delicate start to the day. This is a declaration. Chicago does not ease you in. It hits you immediately and it hits you hard. Midday. Little Italy. The Italian beef sandwich. For lunch, we are catching the CTA Pink Line over to the Polk Station and walking into the historic Little Italy neighborhood on Taylor Street. We are going to Al's #1 Italian beef, and we are getting the sandwich that is, without question, Chicago's most important contribution to the world of food. The Italian beef is razor-thin ribbons of slow-roasted, heavily spiced sirloin piled deep inside a crusty Italian roll. But here is the thing. Ordering one correctly is a skill. You do not just walk up and say, "Give me a beef." You need to know the vocabulary. You order it juicy and hot. Juicy means the chef picks up the entire loaded sandwich with tongs and submerges the whole thing completely into the vat of roasting juice, the braising liquid, for about 3 full seconds. The bread absorbs the broth instantly, like a sponge dropped in water. The roll gets heavy and dark and deeply flavorful, and the meat inside gets even more tender from the second dip. Hot means giardiniera goes on top. If you have never had Chicago-style giardiniera, it is a fiery mix of pickled celery, carrots, jalapenos, and serrano peppers packed in oil. The heat from the peppers cuts straight through the richness of the beef and the broth. It is the combination that makes this sandwich work. Now, before you eat it, there is one more thing you need to know. The Chicago lean. You plant your elbows on the outdoor counter, push your feet back at a 45-degree angle, and lean your entire upper body forward over the paper. Because the moment you bite into this sandwich, liquid pours out of it. There is no avoiding this. The lean is not optional. It is survival. And while we are at the window, we have to grab a side dish that you can only find in Chicago, the pizza puff. A flour tortilla, stuffed with spiced sausage, tomato sauce, and mozzarella, folded into a tight rectangle and dropped straight into a deep fryer until it puffs up into this golden, shatteringly crisp pillow. The outside crunches. The inside is complete molten lava. It is one of those things that exists nowhere else on Earth and makes you immediately understand why Chicago people are so proud of their food. Late afternoon. Lincoln Park. The Chicago dog. There is an unwritten law in this city. At some point during your day, you must eat a Chicago-style hot dog. Not because you are hungry, not because you chose to. You just have to. It is the law. We take the CTA Red Line north to the Fullerton Station in Lincoln Park and walk to a classic no-nonsense walk-up shack with neon signs and a line out the door. This is the temple. This is where it happens. The Chicago dog is not just food. It is a strict legal code with a specific list of rules that cannot be broken. Rule 1. It must be an all-beef Vienna beef frankfurter with a natural casing. Rule 2. It must sit in a steamed Rosen's poppy seed bun. And Rule 3. It must be, in the words of every Chicagoan, dragged through the garden. Watch the person behind the counter work. They move fast. Yellow mustard goes on first, then neon green sweet relish, chopped white onions, fresh tomato wedges, a whole kosher dill pickle spear laid down the side, pickled sport peppers across the top, and then a heavy shake of celery salt over everything. Did you notice anything missing from that list? Ketchup. There is no ketchup. There will never be ketchup. If you ask for ketchup on a hot dog at a Chicago stand, the vendor will look at you with a level of quiet, genuine disappointment that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. Do not do it. The natural casing on the beef gives this thing a sharp, clean pop when you bite through it. Then the crunch of the pickle. Then the heat of the peppers. Then the celery salt tying everything together. It is somehow simultaneously simple and complex, and it is one of the greatest combinations of ingredients ever assembled inside a bun. Evening. Maxwell Street Market. As the sun starts to go down, the energy in the city shifts. If your 24 hours falls on a Sunday, you do not even think about going to a neighborhood for dinner. You catch bus Route 8, straight down Halsted to the Maxwell Street Market, and you let the smell guide you the rest of the way in. This open-air market is one of the oldest and most historically significant markets in Chicago. It is a direct link to the immigrant communities that built this city. And today, it is home to some of the most authentic Mexican street food you will find anywhere north of the border. You follow the smoke. That is always how you find the best stall. There is a tent with charcoal glowing orange underneath a flat-top grill piled high with al pastor and carne asada. Corn tortillas go directly onto the grease-slicked grill. The steak gets chopped and charred at the edges. Then it all comes together, fresh cilantro, raw white onion, and a heavy splash of smoky homemade salsa verde poured over the top. You eat standing on the pavement. There is music somewhere nearby. The smoke from the grill drifts past you. People are talking in 2 or 3 different languages. The taco costs $3 and tastes like it was made by someone who has been doing this their whole life. Because they have. This is not a pop-up. This is a family doing what they do in the city they built. Midnight. The Loop. Chicago Mix Popcorn. For the final stop of our 24 hours, we take any train line straight back into the center of the city. We are headed to the Loop, and we are tracking down something that sounds almost too simple to close out a day this big. A bag of Chicago Mix popcorn. Do not underestimate this. Chicago Mix was invented right here in this city, and the idea is deceptively straightforward. Half the bag is rich, buttery, sharp cheddar cheese popcorn. The other half is deeply caramelized brown sugar caramel corn. And you eat them together, both flavors in the same handful. On paper, that combination makes no sense. In your mouth, something happens that is genuinely hard to explain. The sharp, savory saltiness of the cheddar and the sweet, crunchy shell of the caramel corn crash into each other and somehow, impossibly, create something that is greater than either one on its own. You tell yourself you will have a few handfuls and then put the bag down. You will not put the bag down. Nobody has ever put the bag down. Your fingers turn bright orange from the cheddar dust, and you will not even care because you will already be reaching back in for another handful. 4 major train lines. 0 indoor tables, and a full lap around one of the most underrated food cities in the world. Chicago street food is not trying to be beautiful. It is not trying to be trendy. It is not trying to win any design awards for how it looks in a photograph. It is trying to do one thing and one thing only, satisfy you completely. And it does that better than almost anywhere else on the planet. This city feeds people. That is what it has always done. And after 24 hours eating nothing but what comes out of paper bags and walk-up windows, I can tell you without any hesitation that it does it better than anywhere else I have ever been. If you want to see us do this in another city, drop it in the comments below. Subscribe so you do not miss it when we go. And if you have a Chicago spot that we absolutely should have hit, let us know. We are already planning the return trip. Peace.